Are Africans ready for democracy? Are Africans ready for democracy? We all talk about we want to rule ourselves. We're tired of the colonialists and their rhetorics. Are we ready for democracy? Democracy means respect. Democracy means consideration of the peoples. Democracy means consideration of other people. Democracy means I'm thinking red is better than white. You thinking white is better than red. Well, I'm going to respect you and we're going to continue. We're not going to start fighting each other and killing one another. There's one thing I've noticed about Africans and black people in general. You can say 100 things that they like, they agree on. They will clap their hand for you. But if you say one thing they don't agree with, they will forget every good thing you've said in the past. Let me repeat myself. Black people in general, you may do 100 things that are positive to them. They will clap their hand for you. Oh, we appreciate you. We like you. You're such a good guy, so smart. Until you say one thing they do not agree with. Then they question everything you stand for. Other people know how to, okay, I think you like red, I like white. I don't agree with you, but I'm still standing by your side because, I'm considering the majority of things we agree upon. We cannot separate ourselves and part ways just because you say something I don't agree with. That is something we need to learn, fellas. We are in Cameroon. It's Cameroon, okay? I have never been there, so I cannot say beautiful place, lovely people. I'm very authentic, I tell you the truth. So Cameroonian President Paul Biya has reshuffled the military. Okay, the head of military, all the commanders, all the significant people that in the military have been reshuffled. He's moving people here, moving people there. Some of them have been upgraded, in the military, and some of them have been moved. You're asking yourself, why? Why is he doing this? Well, he's doing this because he's planning to represent himself once more as a president candidate of the elections. Cameroonian President Paul Biya undertook a significant reshuffle of the country's top military leadership in mid-July 2025. Just 2 days after formally announcing his candidacy for the 8th term in October 12. 8th term, my brother. You want to be president for 8 times. Like 8 times because he feels like Cameroon, look at Cameroon here, look at all these people. Amongst all these people, only him is capable of running the country. For the 8th time, and I ask myself, who are the problem of Africa? Let me continue first before we bash each other here. Paul Biya issued a series of decrees appointing new chiefs of staff for infantry, air force, the navy, and promoting 8 brigadier generals to major generals. So basically what he's done is what? He has reshuffled the entire army. So all the leaders, the commanders, on the ground, in the air, in the navy, everybody been reshuffled. Special security, reshuffled everybody. Because he wants to make sure that when he runs for presidency again, he's got the total support of the army. Obviously, when you run for president and you feel like you're going to be contested, you need to make sure that the army is behind you. How do you do it? Well, you reshuffle. You make some of the people that were lower grade, higher grade. You propose them higher salaries. You issue them authority so they can be faithful and loyal to you. Well, how old is the Cameroonian president? He's 92 years old. Yes, the man is 92 years old, as you can see. In many instances, there was a specific video I watched of him where he didn't really know where he was. He was in a stage and they were telling him, oh, now you need to stand up.
Totally unaware of what is happening around him. He does not even know his aides keep explaining what he needs to do and telling him how important the event is. And he does not even know. He just keeps fiddling with the paper in front of him and passing that. This is the sad reality of the kind of presidents that we have running most African countries.
Le monsieur vous a introduit. Il y avait un monsieur de vous qui vous a introduit.
Je dois parler maintenant.
That's the president of Cameroon. I know you've probably met a Cameroonian. Do you know soccer? Do you play soccer? Roger Miller, yeah, that's a Cameroon. Francis Ngannou, the MMA fighter, that's a Cameroonian. So look at this, fellas. On July 13th, 2025, Biya officially declared his candidacy for the 8th presidential term. 8 times, brother. 8 times. And you're talking about Europeans being the oppressors. I don't know about that. I'm always going to tell you the truth. I'm never going to sugarcoat. I'll tell you the truth. You're not necessarily nice people. I'm sorry. And I know this is rubbing you the wrong way. You are not. Look how you treat each other. That's what I'm saying to you. July 16, he started reshuffling senior military leadership. Why? To make sure he stays president. Why would you do that? If you want to give everybody a fair share to the power, why would you do that? Why would you reshuffle if you're probably leaving? Now, my question is this. This is not necessary. I mean, this man has been president for 42 years. 42 years. And some areas of Cameroon doesn't even have water. Okay, it's a Russian church that came to some areas of Cameroon to allow them to get water underground. What do you call it? From a well, to build a well for a country. And in Cameroon, you can't talk negative about the president. You know, you can't do that. You talk about democracy. In Cameroon, lawyers are beaten up for talking about the president. Yes. Military beats lawyers up. Imagine, so if they can beat a lawyer up, how about you, a citizen? And you're talking about colonialism. What's colonialism compared to this? Are we ready? Are African people ready for freedom? Are African people ready for what they're asking for? I'm asking a big question. I mean, let's just go back to history. Look at Sudan. Sudan, north was Arabs, south with black people. They say you're mistreating us, as black people. Your region is developed, ours is underdeveloped. You don't look after us. How about we cut the country in two parts so we can have our own country? They went through war. They fought. They say, okay, they're unaliving us. We want our own country. Well, their wish was granted. They had their own country. What are they doing right now? What are the black Sudanese people doing right now? They're unaliving each other. Bad. 400,000 people gone because they're fighting over power. Is the problem really people from different race? I'm just asking. Is the problem really people from different race? I mean, it's very easy to say Americans, white people are shooting our brothers, our black Americans over there. It's very easy to say there's racism all over Europe and stuff. How do you treat each other? That's what I'm saying. Lawyers are beaten up. There's a singer in Cameroon who made a song, saying we are tired, we want freedom. I mean, this is like their version of Jay-Z. Like, it was that big. They beat him up so bad by security forces. He started reminding them. He says, listen, have you forgotten me? I made a song for the president praising his glory for many times. Why are you treating me this way? They almost killed that man. Are Africans ready? I'm just asking. Now, does this mean is the Cameroonian president himself that wants to stay president? Well, not necessarily. Because in some cases, it's not even the president that wants to stay president. In some cases, it's family members that tell him, listen, you've been here for 40 years. This is the only life we know. Being praised, driving in big cars, traveling when we want. Why do you want to take that away from us? Who's got a gun on your head? Who's going to resist you? Please don't do that. Yes. Sometimes it's external people that say, listen, president, we still need you. Sometimes African people come into power with good mentality, good ideas, actually wanting to make the country better until they meet people that are appointed in office. Those are the people that want to loot the country because they want to live high life, building big villas, have big houses and travel. They don't want to take that away. It's like they become addicted to power. It's not about the people, it's about themselves. And I'm 100%, maybe not 100% sure, I'm sure this president was pushed by somebody. 92 years old, he's been in power since 1982. And he's still going. He's 92. He's going to stay for another 7 years as president. Let me know how you feel about this reshuffling of the army, changing people here and there with the goal, like many experts say, is to try to gain the loyalty of the army. Obviously, when somebody pushes you in a position where you become a commander-in-chief of some military section in the army, or they move you, upgrade you, you will stay faithful and loyal, right? 92 years old, want to be president again for the 8th time because he feels like Cameroon has nobody smart enough to run the country. You let me know how you feel about that. And I know the truth doesn't always sound good. The problem is many people hate it when I'm gonna always tell you the truth. So you decide to disengage, unsubscribe, I'll tell you the truth. Because I'm not your content creator. I'm not here to create content for you or to make a living out of this. No, I'm sorry. With all due respect, I'm here because we need to talk. I'm not here for you to follow me and like what I say and stuff. And I'm not here for you to like me or like how I say. Like some people were making comments the other day saying, yeah, you need to dim down on talking. He talks too much about. Go watch CNN. Go watch CNN or BBC. So, yeah, go watch them. They don't talk too much. Okay? You can tell them, by the way, how you want to get your message delivered. Not here. We're always going to tell the truth. Sometimes It's not going to sound right. Sometimes it's going to hurt. Sometimes it's going to trigger you. But as long as it's the truth, we're going to share it. I don't know how much Africans like Africans. I do not know how much black people like black people. I don't. I think we are champions at blaming other people. You know, apartheid did this to us. Apartheid did that to us. But if you look at the negative things you do to one another, it's scary. Colonialism, this slavery, that. But if you look at the number of you people unaliving each other, taking from one another, subjecting each other into misery and pain when you have power over other people, it's insane. And I'm not going to leave for that. Well, we are in Kenya. Kenya's right here, fellas. It's lovely people. Great people of Kenya. Very brave. And I respect them. Now, there's a brand new law, or not law, perhaps. Let me put it that way. Because in Africa, whatever the chief or the boss says, it's law. Let's not talk about the president or the king. Well, William Ruto, this man right here, good-looking man, president of Kenya, say that from now on, anyone looting or vandalizing businesses should be shot on their leg and dealt with by the court afterward.
A person who takes fire is going to burn someone else's business. They are going to destroy other people's property. Such a person should be shot in the legs so that they go to the hospital before going to court. Yes. Let them not be killed, but shoot them, let their legs be broken. So they go to court, so they go to the hospital before going to court.
There's anti-government protests in which at least 31 people were unalived. So 31 people were unalived, and the president says whoever vandalizes, steals from businesses, destroy property should be shot on the leg. Shot on the leg. But on the same protest, 31 people were unalived. Context: why are people protesting in Kenya? People are protesting in Kenya. They were opposing a bill called the Financial Bill 2024. This bill, I've explained many times, was about to get money for government. Why does government need money? Because government borrowed money from China, World Bank, and IMF in the past. But government did not use money the way they were supposed to use. What happened? Well, some people believe government spent money in a way that was not planned. They spent money on some things that were personal. Some people talk about corruption, money made available for the government, and the government people use it for their own things. They spend it, they split it. Then later on, after spending and splitting the money, then they think about, oh shit, we were supposed to build schools with the money. We were supposed to build hospitals with the money. Now, how do we get the money back? How about we put pressure on our own people so they can pay more money on tax? How tax? Well, let's tax their bread. How about that? So they pay the price for the bread and they tax on top of it. How about we tax their period pads? Because all the women get period, at least most of them, end of the month. Therefore, how do you get money? Tax the period pad. Whenever a woman is a period, she pays for the pad. She also pays for a period pad as a tax. Whose fault is it? Experts are saying government could have planned better, could have used the money in a way that's more appropriate, more transparent, less spending that was not necessary. They wouldn't have needed all these measures. Now, in 2024, many people went to the street opposing this bill, saying it was unacceptable. They would not live for that. Many people were unalive at the same token. William Ruto came on TV saying, I have heard the people, I have heard the nation. I am not passing this bill.
Having reflected on the continuing conversation around the content of the Finance Bill 2024 and listening keenly to the people of Kenya who have said loudly that they want nothing to do with this Finance Bill 2024, I concede, and therefore I will not sign the 2024 Finance Bill, and it shall subsequently be withdrawn, and I have agreed with these members that that becomes our collective position.
The idea was clear. He wanted the people of Kenya, but he didn't clean enough, clearly, because in 2025, they're still trying to push for the same bill. So what they did was, The bill they were trying to push in 2024, in 2025, they just changed the English, changed the wording, but still a very similar bill. People went to the street again, protesting against it, and remembering the people of Kenya that were unalive a year before that. Now, the anger has mounted. Obviously, when people march, even if it is for the good cause, sometimes you get rebellious people. You get thieves and crooks and bandits that will do things that are out of hand, like breaking other people's shops and businesses, like looting and stealing. Now, they get unalived sometimes. Okay. There's one thing having a soldier trying to unalive people to the soldier or the policeman deems is a criminal. Now, there is another thing when the president says anybody that dares to steal, loot, or break a business or do anything that is out of hand should be shot on the leg. I do understand the context. Do you understand the context? The context is simple. You're trying perhaps to scare the people from doing negative things. But does it limit itself there? Because then police who is crooked, the police who is a mafia, because you cannot say all the police are good people. No, they're not. Most of them are. Some of them are bad people. In the same way, people that come to the street, most of them are actually good people, but some of them are bad people. But when you say anybody that dares to loot, steal, take something, break into business, they should be shot on the leg.
Those who attack our police, those who attack our security men and women, those who attack our security installations, including police stations, that is a declaration of war. That is terrorism. We are going to deal with you firmly.
Don't you think that you are giving a token to those crooked police people who die about unaliving people? Because there are police that have shot a gun, but they've never really shot a human being. They just want to try to see how does that feel. Now, what's the best way of shooting somebody, taking somebody's life, without necessarily having to be accountable for it? Well, you see, it's an opportunity when the leader said, you must shoot whoever that tries to do negative thing on the leg. How about I shoot him on the head and pretend that my weapon mistripped, or my weapon was not, or something happened, or my objective was not to shoot him on the head. I was trying to shoot him on the leg. Doesn't that give him much wider opportunity to crooked and indecent people to do negative things? Let me know if you know about that. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kichum made a remark saying that to kill a police station with a criminal intent during June 25 protest.
Naambia polisi, mtu yoyote mwenye atakaribia police station piga yeye risasi.
Now again, I can understand. You should be able to protect yourself if somebody tried to hurt you as a policeman. Now, how do you prevent people that actually want to shoot people from shooting people if they can use that as an excuse? Like, oh, he was trying to take my gun, I shot him. We've seen many stories like that where the police was actually a negative, bad person. He tried to intimidate somebody, trying to extort money out of him. Was unsuccessful. But then he sees an opportunity to shoot him on the head, saying he was trying to take my gun away from me. Now, there is one thing in believing that the police could potentially shoot me should I ever try to approach them in an aggressive way. Now, there is another thing for the police knowing I have the right to shoot as many people as I can if they behave in a way that I judge is hostile toward me. Now, do you think we're opening a door to a very dangerous area? The minister insisted that he was merely restating existing law under Kenyan National Police life-threatening situation, not issuing any blanket shoot-to-kill order. Obviously, it doesn't sound good. You know, sometimes you say things out of anger or out of whatever, then later on you realize that what you said was not correct. Again, the people of Kenya are angry. They are protesting. Shouldn't the government be thinking, why are the people protesting? Maybe we need to fix something about that instead of shooting people to the leg. I mean, how far will you go with shooting people on the legs? I mean, if the legs doesn't work anymore, then what? We shoot on the chest. Then we shoot on the head. Do we have a country or do we have something completely different? Gachagua criticized the president's statement, arguing that such orders insult victims of the past police brutality. He says you have gone even further to add insult to injury by ordering police to shoot innocent Kenya in the legs. We will report you to the Kenyan Police Criminal Court, a place you're familiar with. This is what Mr. Gachagua said. I remember William Ruto being a president that really touched me personally when he spoke about Africans not needing to spend the US dollars in merchandising between each other. In other words, Ruto said, why should me as an African, if I want to buy something from Somalia, use dollars? Because that's what people do. If I want to buy sugar, use a dollar. Why not just use our own currency? That's what Ruto said.
Why, members? Why is it necessary for us to buy things from Djibouti and pay in dollars? Why? There is no reason. And we are not against the US dollar. We just want to trade much more freely. Let us pay in US dollars what we are buying from the US. But what we are buying from Djibouti, let's use local currency.
Ruto, number 2, came up with an idea of using a payment system that's purely African, that's African to make exchange and buy from one another, empower each other, and move away from the dollar.
Traders in our continent can trade in their goods and services, and the Africa Exim Bank will settle payments in local currency.
Later on, when Ruto became president, we seem not to see the same things. Malema said something changed about Mr. William Ruto.
I don't know if President William Ruto means it, because he said so many things and I can't locate him these days, because the things he said during election and the things he's doing now are two different things. I don't know, because I heard him saying we need to do away with the dollar and build our own currency, but his actions are not speaking to anything of doing away with the dollar. The latest being putting a red carpet for a murderer, a person who killed the Kenyan people, coming into this country, receiving a red carpet and being saluted by our own army.
Apparently he's now the greatest friend of the West. Apparently he's now one of the partner, allied. He sends Kenyan police and soldiers to Haiti to go and fight a war that was actually supposed to be fought by America. You know, so people are asking a lot of questions. William Ruto said he heard the people. He said he heard the people. He will not pass this bill. He even fired the majority of people around him to show the world that he was coming to an understanding with the Kenyan people.
Having reflected on the continuing conversation around the content of the Finance Bill 2024, and listening keenly to the people of Kenya, who have said loudly that they want nothing to do with this Finance Bill 2024, I concede, and therefore I will not sign the 2024 Finance Bill, and it shall subsequently be withdrawn. And I have agreed with these members that becomes our collective position.
He even fired the majority of people around him to show the world that he was coming to an understanding with the Kenyan people. Now, what's happening now? From that to shoot them in the leg. Well, let's shoot them in the leg. I mean, if you can publicly say shoot them in the leg, what can you say in private? I'm just asking. If somebody can say break his jaw in public, what does he say in private when nobody's watching? Question mark. And you think, is this a good thing? Is there an alternative to that? How do you punish people without necessarily having to shoot them? Let me know how you feel about this. Always a great pleasure. God bless. Fellas, Sierra Leone has recalled its ambassador from the neighboring country, Guinea. Okay? Why? Because the Sierra Leone... I just murdered that. The Sierra Leone ambassador has been accused of doing dealings with... I'm not going to use those words because AI is going to find out. What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing good. It's a beautiful day. Thank you very much for stopping by. I just came back from the gym. I did 15 rounds on the bag, 5 minutes each. It was crazy. Strong. And all these ladies looking at you like, oh, who is that guy? I see this guy picking up big weight, but who is that guy punching the heavy bag? It feels good. Anyway, thank you very much for stopping by. I know you don't know why. My name is Zack. You're probably going to like me very much, or you're not going to like me very much if I bash your country, because I do bash people's countries. I bash everybody's country. I don't care. Okay, we're here to talk about the truth. And the truth is not supposed to necessarily sound good. Sometimes the truth hurts, and it's okay. Provided that you grow from it, you get better. Okay, the goal is to get an Africa that brings people together, not an Africa that separates people, or some African think they're superior to other Africans because my country is better than your country. No country is better than one. There's no such thing as a country. You can do whatever you want. We don't care. Okay, countries never existed before 1885. That's when all these people went together in Berlin, sit down, discuss on how they're going to split Africa into small portions. They gave these African countries to the British, those African countries to the Germans, these African countries to the French. Okay, those never used to be African countries. Okay, if you go to Ghana, you're going to find the Akan people. These are the Akan. It's a tribe, right? Well, if you go to the neighboring country, you'll find Akan people. This is Cote d'Ivoire. Back to Ghana. These are Akan people in Ghana. These are Akan people in Cote d'Ivoire or Ivory Coast. Now, Akan people are what? Are they Ivorian or the Ghanaians? No, tell me, Akan people, are they Ivorian or Ghanaians? So what the hell are you talking about countries? There's no such thing as country. You can cry a river. There's no countries. And we're going to bring Africa together. Let's go. I know you already hate me. No, I don't care. But continue watching. Cool. So in Sierra Leone, something very interesting is happening. Sierra Leone has recalled its ambassador from Guinea. This is Guinea. This is Sierra Leone. No, you don't know where Guinea is because you were not very good with geography, but now you know. This is Guinea, okay? This is Sierra Leone. Things happening in Guinea. The Sierra Leone ambassador has been recalled on Monday by authority impounded the vehicle, okay? They checked the vehicle of the Sierra Leonese. Crazy, yeah? It's not my language, you know. I'm doing good, right? The Sierra Leonese ambassador was detained and its occupant on suspicion of possessing substances suspected to be, you know that thing from South America, yeah.
On 13th January 2025, the government of Guinea informed the government of Sierra Leone that a vehicle belonging to the embassy of Sierra Leone in Conakry was impounded by the Guinean authorities. The driver and another occupant of the vehicle are being held on suspicion of possession of substances suspected to be cocaine. In light of this serious development, the government has urgently recalled Sierra Leone's ambassador to Guinea, Ambassador Mr. Almami Bangura, to Freetown to provide a full account of the incident.
So let me just explain to you this, okay? Diplomatic bodies usually don't get searched in whichever country they're going to. Okay, so if you're part of the diplomatic body, if you work for the embassy, if you are the representative of the embassy, you cannot be searched. Okay, you cannot be arrested. They benefit from I forgot what you call it. The word go, you know, it's not my language. English is not my language. Yeah, so they cannot be arrested. This immunity. Okay, this immunity. That's the word from doing anything. So somebody from the embassy can slap you, but there's nothing you can do about it because, it cannot happen. It's part of the law. Now, many negative things have happened that way. We've seen some of the diplomats do wrong things. They will drive in a way that is not acceptable. Sometimes they will even knock somebody's car and they cannot be arrested by the police. The police knows you don't touch those people and they take advantage of it. And also, because you're part of the diplomatic body, you can allow yourself to do many things with your car because your car cannot be searched. Now, the Sierra Leone's ambassador's vehicle was transporting, for who? Question mark. I don't know how they did this. You know, they finally arrested the car. I mean, if they had to arrest the car, it means they've been investigating this for a long time. They've been trying to find out a long time. They've got precision. Because just imagine you have to stop a diplomatic car and accuse them of something, then find nothing in the car. That's a big problem. They stopped the car and they found things. And now an investigation is being conducted on why and how this is happening. Let me just remind you here, fellas, that West Africa is a big stopping spot from South American product going to Europe. Sometimes the boats come from South America to West Africa before being sent to Europe, you know. Now, not just Europe, the consumption is also being done in West Africa. West Africa is a major transit point for trafficking C, you know what C is, from Latin America, where it is produced to Europe, one of the drug's big markets. But some of the is being consumed locally. Now, in Sierra Leone, a lot of people are taking a very cheap, they call it kush, okay? It's a very cheap, whatever, people have no jobs, they have no situation, no life. What can they do? They just consume that stuff. So, can we say that the ambassador was doing business with people's life? Okay? The ambassador of a country in another country, bringing stuff so your people and he can make money. So this just shows you how crazy government officials can be. And one of the main reasons why many African nations are not moving forward, it's not necessarily because the president is not a good person. It's usually because many people working under the president are there for their personal interest. A president can come into the country and saying, okay, I'm actually coming to change things, make things better, make food accessible to everybody, electricity, provide schooling, medicine, hospitals, infrastructure for the people. But with the good ideas he's coming with in a government, he will be working with people who have absolutely opposite ideas of what he is. And everything he tries to do, people are just trying to make it negative. And the president will say, okay, I'm just coming to power, then releasing power. You know what he's told? Some people will tell him, no, how can you do this? You only have an opportunity. This is a once in 100 million. Like, how many chances do people get to become president? You can't do this. And this is not just about yourself. This is about your relative, your family member, your cousins. Everybody must eat. This is an opportunity God has given us. We need to eat, then we can live. And it's very sad because that's why many governments want you to go to church every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Not to say that church is wrong. There's absolutely nothing wrong with church. But they want you to go to church Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And once you do that, what happens? You don't worry about what government is not doing anymore. You think everything is not working out for you because the devil is in change you. Yeah. The more you believe that, the more you don't ask them for accountability. The more you think, if I pray more, if I fast more, if I go to church more, if I give tithe more, the more you don't get them to accountability. And I think people need to be sober about that. And no emotions, fellas. And I'm telling you, there's absolutely nothing wrong. Praying is great. It's amazing. But even the books of God say there is a time for everything. There is a time to pray, and there is a time to ask people for accountability. Now, the negative thing is, the more you pray, the softer you become in terms of asking for accountability from people. The more you pray, the less hard you become when it comes to time for you to be hard. Because there's a time for everything. There's a time to be soft. There's a time to be hard. And it's very difficult for you to stand up and burn stuff down, asking for your rights, asking for response from government. When you're praying Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, when are you going to pray? Okay, may God forgive them. Okay, and that's what I'm saying. People use their power to destroy. Okay, in Sierra Leone, a lot of people are going in the street drunk. I'm trying to avoid that word because government people are putting people in the nations. Government people are dealing the stuff so they can make money. They don't care about your children. We know what's happening in America. They brought that stuff in the black community so the black community can be fatherless. Threw many Americans in jail, many black Americans in jail. So female can remain themselves, and by female fighting for herself, trying to make life better for her children, she becomes the strong African American woman that doesn't do good when she has a man in her life. Even if the man has a good intention for her, she can't see it because she's used to that. Her mom did just that. Her grandmother did everything by herself with no man on the side. So that's the thing they're doing to the people. And I think it's very interesting that we don't look at things in that perspective. Okay? So the question mark is this. Sierra Leone has called back its ambassador. Are they going to put him in jail? Let me remind you here, in most African countries, in order for you to become ambassador, it's usually because you're related to the president. You're a cousin, or you're a cousin to somebody somewhere there, or you know what I mean? Do you think they're going to take their own cousins and throw them in? I bet you that guy's got somebody somewhere in government. That's how he became ambassador. In most African countries. We can't be 100% sure, but yeah. Are they going to hold him accountable? Because if stuff went to his car and it was stopped one time, it means it's been going for a long time. And for these people from Guinea to have the courage to stop a diplomatic car, it means they've done their intelligence work for a long time. Africans need to wake up to this. The question is this: who is the real enemy of Africa? Who is the enemy of Africa? God bless. Have you noticed that some people have issue with managing power? I mean, power is great. You know, being powerful is a beautiful thing. But managing power is another thing. Okay? Some people, when they have nothing, they have no money, no ability, they are good people. Really, really good people. As soon as they have an opportunity, they run the bank, they become CEO of the company or a director. You can't talk to them anymore. They change completely. You're like, do I know this person? Or is this the person we grew up with? Or something's changed? Have they changed his soul? There's a president that used to be in Senegal. His name is Mwekassa. This man right here. Mwekassa, long time ago, when he was trying to get into power, he was very angry at his predecessor because his predecessor was trying to change the constitution so he can run for presidency one more time, a third time, which was not constitutional, obviously against the law.
I, Mwekassa, will refuse to let those in power use subterfuge to postpone the election. I will not accept it, and I will do everything in my power to stand up to this deception. We cannot accept, under any pretext whatsoever, that the 2012 elections be postponed. In fact, I have said this several weeks, even several months ago. We will not give the President of the Republic a single minute more after the election on the 20th.
He said we cannot tolerate anybody who tries to breach the constitution by amending it so he can stay in power longer. You know what happened later? Later on, Mwekassa became president of Senegal. Senegal is known for being one of the countries with the most democracy, the most peaceful country in Africa. Some people talk about Senegal and Ghana at the top. Beautiful place, lovely people. Mwekassa took power and he became president. And after he became president, he ran for presidency first time, second time. Then he tried to change the constitution himself. So the very thing he was fighting many years ago, saying we cannot accept to tolerate anybody that tries to change the constitution for his own purpose to enrich himself and his family, he tried to do it. That's why you can't trust people. You cannot begin to trust people. Fellas, we are in Kenya here. Beautiful place, lovely people. What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing good. Thank you very much for stopping by. You appreciate it. My name is Zack. Your first time, you're welcome. We want you here. We like you here. We want you to stay. Click on the button and subscribe so we can see each other every single day. Okay? We come here every day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You name it, you're going to find us here. Good quality. Here we talk about Africa. Unfiltered. Undated. We're not afraid. Sometimes we bash each other really hard. Really, really hard. But if you're brand new, you're probably going to get touched or hurt by what we say. But the goal is never to poison each other. It's never venomous. We'll batch each other so we can feel better. We will batch each other so we can get better. The goal is to... Look, Africa is one country. I don't care how you feel. You don't like it. I'm Zambian. We don't give a continent. I'm South African. We don't give it. You're African. All of you are African. We one land. And we're not asking for your permission. Whether you like it or not, Africa shall be free. Let's go. Now, this is Kenya right here. Beautiful place, lovely people. Amazing place to have fun, my brother. Okay? Kenya is one of those places... You can never be lost. You will always find your people. There's no doubt about it. Okay, now in Kenya, the president, this man right here, William Ruto, good looking man. You see him? That's him. He's building a church. Yes, fellas, he's building a church at the presidential residence. William Ruto is building a church at the presidential residence in Nairobi. Okay, and he says he's going to pay for it himself. And the people of Kenya are very angry. Let me repeat myself. The president of Kenya said he wants to build the church at the presidential residence. Okay, the presidential residence is a state-owned land, right? You want to build a Christian church. And this is what he said. I'm not going to ask anyone for an apology for building a church. The devil might be angry and can do what he wants. That's what Ruto says. So people are very, very angry. This statement alone has enraged a lot of Kenya. They're very frustrated with Ruto's style of leadership. They say Ruto wants to entangle the state and the church. Now, on Friday, one of the Kenya leading newspapers said, it's called the Daily Nation. It's published a design showing a large building with stained glass windows with a capacity of 8,000 people. So Daily Nation published a design of the proposed church at the State House or the presidential place. Yeah, it's going to hold 8,000 people. And it's going to cost about $9 million. And people are criticizing this. Well, Ruto said he will pay for the church out of his own pocket. And people are asking, well, where is he going to get the money from? because you're supposed to be presidents. Presidents have a salary that's known. So, fellas, I mean, it's very sad because we have to talk about this. I mean, we have all the love for Kenya. You know me. I always speak positively about Kenya. Kenya is one of those places I went to the beautiful trip. Look at that. I love Kenya. I love Kenya. I love my Kenyan people. They're very straightforward. When they like you, they truly like you. When they don't like you, they don't hide it. I really, really appreciate Kenya, the culture, the people, the food. It's a beautiful place. And I will never, ever betray, okay? But we have to talk about this. Kenya seems to be not very happy lately. A lot of things have happened, from this protest right here, where many people were unalived because they were fighting over a bill called the finance bill that was voted in 2024. They were shot, unalived, because they were against the bill. Now, what does bill say? Very roughly, the bill was about to propose something along the lines of adding tax on many things. Okay, tax on most essential things like tax on bread. Yeah, you go buy bread, you have to pay tax on top of it. You want to buy period pad, you have to pay the period pad and the tax money on top of it. You have cancer, you want a treatment, you got to pay for cancer treatment and a tax on top of the cancer treatment, my brother. How do you like that? You have cancer, you have to pay tax on top of the treatment. Crazy stuff. Why? Because the government need money. Why the government needs money? Because government spent the money in certain things they shouldn't have spent on. Because, I mean, you have all the smart financial people. What went wrong? They didn't do the math right. I mean, Kenya got debt and finance from China, from World Bank, from IMF. Where's the money? Somebody must have been using the money for some things he shouldn't have used it for. That's why now the Kenyan government need to get money somewhere else. Now, people went to the street saying, we don't want this tax. Don't tax our bread. Don't tax our period pad. Don't tax our cancer treatment. Because people didn't like that. And matter of fact, in Kenya, doctors went down the street, many months ago. They went down the street very angry because they were not happy with their salaries. They said, we need a better salary, better treatment as doctors. Number two, we want insurance. So if me as a doctor working for an hospital that belongs to the state, I have a family, a wife and 2 children, and my wife happens to be very sick, they should be able to go to the hospital and get treated, get insurance, give us a much better salary. And you know what they said? They said there was no money.
Our friends, the doctors, that we mind about them, we value the service they give to our nation, but we must live within our means. The resources we have are only sufficient to pay 70,000 shillings for intern doctors. It is not a salary, it is a stipend for only 1 year, and then they will be employed. And we want all our doctors, all our doctor interns to be taken in.
He said you must be happy with what you have, so we have no money. I'm just the messenger, my brother. We always going to tell the truth. He said there's no money, okay? Now, we also know that Kenya negotiated with Saudi Arabia about Kenyan people going to work as domestic workers in Saudi Arabia. Give you context. A lot of Africans, especially Kenyans, Ethiopians, Ugandans, Somalians sometimes, they go to some of the countries in Middle East, like Saudi Arabia, Lebanon, and some of these other countries, looking for jobs as domestic workers. Okay? So, unfortunately, history tells us a lot of these ladies, and especially, get mistreated. Some of them get taken by force, you know what I'm trying to say? Some of them don't get paid. Some of them work for 18 hours a day, then sleep for 3 hours, then it's just crazy. We know that Kenya negotiated with Saudi Arabia, because they felt like they couldn't stop the flux of people going to Saudi Arabia. So we may as well just negotiate with Saudi Arabia on what's the bottom line in terms of salary will be for the domestic workers coming from Kenya. They did negotiate that. However, they couldn't negotiate. So again, a domestic worker from Kenya in Saudi Arabia is getting paid better than a doctor working for a government in Kenya. So you spent all these years going to school to become a doctor just so you can get paid less than a domestic worker that works for a very foreign country. Doctors were crying, very unhappy. Well, they sent the military, they sent the police, they beat them up, they scourged them. They even said, if you don't come to work, we're going to find other people. But unfortunately, African people sometimes disappoint me. Some of you are fighting for better pay, better situation. Now the boss say, okay, if you don't come to work, we're going to hire other people. Now other people coming to get hired. Stay home. Why do you betray your own people? Now, what we know is Mr. Ruto, very smart, but he's very smart, very, very smart. He said there was no money for doctors. Okay, and we believed him. Now, where do you get the $9 million to build a church from? $9 million is $9 million, brother. $9 million can pay the salary of many, many people for a full year. What's the church for? I mean, Kenya is not necessarily a Christian country. Well, you have about 85% of people that are Christians, but you have also a population of Muslims that are 11%, and people that don't necessarily believe. There are Hinduist and traditional African religions in Kenya. Now, are those people not supposed to not be happy or question you on your personal choice? Let me put it this way. Your Christianity is your personal choice. Brother, your Christianity is your personal choice. It has nothing to do with the state. Now, people are criticizing Mr. Ruto because they feel like there are priorities. I mean, where are the priorities? Jobs, road, opportunities for people. Why $9 million on a church at the state house? Now, some people say there's no mosque or temple at the presidency. We want to remind him that Kenya does not belong to Christians only, said the group's head, Harrison Mumia. Does this make sense? Look, I'm sorry, but I don't know if there's any. Look, I do respect you trying to pray and stuff. I do not know of a country that developed itself through prayers. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist, my brother. People grow their country through thinking together, building honesty, transparency. That's what moves the country forward. It's not Jesus. Jesus doesn't build a country. I'm sorry. Sorry to be hurt. Sorry. With all due respect. No, there's no. Name me one country that developed itself through religion. One country. Religion, constant religion developed the country. It doesn't exist. Matter of fact, it's the opposite that happens. When you become an extremist into religion, because you can be an extremist in either religion, extremists are not just Muslims. Sorry. Or Islamists. There are some Christian extremists. I'm sorry. Those are the people you can't talk to them because they're going to explain to you don't understand. You see, the Holy Spirit doesn't function this way. They speak to you like you're a child, like you're stupid. You don't understand, like, you're still a baby, spiritual baby. Like you have no brains. But it's insane. So it's very sad. But let's compare this to Rwanda. Rwanda is Rwanda. Okay, Rwanda is right here. Rwanda is born through the most. In 1994, they had a major genocide happening in the country. People unalive each other. I think within 100 days, if I'm not mistaken, about 1 million people were unalive. Bad. They have mainly two tribes in Rwanda. Actually, three. You have the Tutsis, the Hutus, and the Pygmies. Okay, these are the people of Rwanda. And there was a big mayhem between the Tutsis and the Hutus fighting each other over power again. It was very sad. But Rwanda has bounced back. Many years later, is guided by this man right here. Okay? Now, the man said, in this country, we're going to regulate church. We're going to regulate churches in this country. We're not going to have many. Let me put it this way for you. In many African countries, you will find there are churches, about 12 churches in one avenue. You see one street, you find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 12 different churches. They are all what? Evangelical Christian churches. Now the question is, why all these churches have all these big speakers? No, I'm going to put it down for you. You see a church with speakers looking this way. Church here, two houses later with speakers. And this pastor screaming and the other one is screaming and it's noisy and people can't sleep. And they even do church until night time, my brother. They have overnight prayers. 2 o'clock in the morning, you're trying to sleep. These are residential areas. You have churches, people praying 3 o'clock, you can't sleep. And if you open your mouth to say, hey, you're making noise, they say the devil is speaking through you. Shut up, it's the devil, it's not you. So you can't sleep anymore. These are residential areas. So people take their houses, turn it into church. Now, if you ask them, okay, are you praying God? Why don't you guys come together since you're praying the same God who's Christian and make one church for all of you? No, they don't want to do that. They don't want to do that. No, my vision, you see, my God inspired me, a very particular kind of vision. Is it your vision or God's vision? Now, if your God is his God, why don't you come together into creating one church and be ordered? Or is your God so disorganized you gotta have 15 churches in one street? Now, where are the schools? No schools. Where are the engineers? No engineers. There's nothing constructed. Church. It's crazy. It's insane. Now, in Rwanda, the president said, look at this. This is DRC. You can say this is DRC. There's churches everywhere. Now, the particular, and this is Nigeria. Look at Nigeria. Churches everywhere. Now, there's something very interesting about countries where you see a lot of churches. There's a lot of poverty. A lot of poverty. People are poor. No school, no food, nothing. They're poor. And you can understand why. I mean, if you have no money, no way out, you have no future, besides traveling to a foreign country or hoping you're going to have a better life, what do? You pray. You just pray for salvation. You say everything is meaningless because you're looking for... It's poverty. People are poor. They have nothing to do. So they pray. People pray for diseases. People pray to get visas. Yes, Africans do pray to get visas to go to Europe because they hope they're going to have a better life in Europe. So Africans are not ready to fight for Africa to get better. They're not ready to face their own demons, their own politicians that they support, usually because they come from the same tribes, they speak the same language, but they want to run away from their countries. And when they go to countries like South Africa, say you must return, they say South Africans are xenophobia. No, you must go fix your country, okay? Stop going to other people's country trying to force yourself. When they ask you, no, go fix your country, you say they're xenophobia. I mean, I'm not saying that all South Africans are not xenophobic. There are those that are xenophobic, but the idea is not xenophobic, asking you to go fix your country. It is not. Now, people can't fix their countries because they are affiliated to people based on their religions. Look, in Africa, even churches are tribal based. You go to a church, people support the church because the pastor is from a particular tribe. It's my brother. I'm always going to tell you the truth. Now, in Rwanda, they made amendments. The president came into power and said, you know what, there are way too many churches here, okay? I feel like y'all are not thinking straight because when you pray too much, you can't defend yourself. I'm sorry. You become soft. When you pray too much, somebody will slap your mother. You will send us, no, may God forgive you. I'm sorry. I'm not about that life. If you touch my mother, you touch my son, you touch my wife, I'm going to make sure your stomach is open. None of that. Jesus is going to... When you pray too much, they tell you, if somebody slaps you here, give you the other side of the cheek so he can hit you again. That's what church teaches you. Not many people know. People lose the ability to... And that was the reason why they pushed that agenda into Africans, so they don't fight the colonialists. They say, happy are the poor because the kingdom of heaven is theirs. Stay poor because you're going to go to heaven. In the meantime, we're stealing. These are verses that you find in these books. And people apply it in everyday life. When they see somebody doing great in life, they say, all this is unnecessary. You know, it's meaningless because we're all gonna die. That's all. And let's get back on this. Now, in Rwanda, they say no more 35 churches. It's over. Okay, so what they do in Rwanda is churches will remain open, only the churches that follow the rule. What are the rules? The church must be registered with the Rwandan Governance Board. So you must register your church. You can't just wake up one day to the other and say, I'm a pastor. A lot of black people do that. They just say they're visiting from spirits telling them they're chosen. And they start talking rubbish and misguiding people. A lot of people do that. They must have a structurally safe building. So the building must be structural and safe. Because a lot of people just take tent. They put tent and they start a church. Crazy. Install lighting, rod, fire exit, and toilet. Some churches have no toilets. You have to go to the neighbors. No, I gotta tell you the truth. You must control, number 5, your noise level. The noise level must be controlled. Because, like I said earlier, if you go tell these churches, hey, sorry guys, my baby's trying to sleep. Say, hey, brother, you know the devil, when he comes, the kingdom, yeah. So you can't do none of that. They closed about 8,000 churches in Rwanda. 8,000 churches were closed nationwide. And people were very angry and unhappy. But at last, they realized what was the reason for that. Okay? They were preventing exploitation of people because you find some fake pastors. Many of them are fake, matter of fact. Out of 10 pastors, I'm telling you 2 are real. Yeah, if not 1. So these fake pastors asking you to bring money, they drive big cars while you have nothing. That's what it is. And we're going to Burkina Faso. So Burkina Faso suspends NGOs and association for meddling into internal businesses. Very interesting stuff. The Burkinabe government has revoked license to foreign NGOs and suspended their operation because they're putting too much noise into the things that are happening in the country. Some of the NGOs, obviously, as per the accusation, are basically doing, spying activities, spying on what the government is doing. These are companies in most cases that belong to France, and France was kicked out, but they still operate. The NGOs are registered as companies to help people in difficulties, but poor, orphans and widows. But the reality is on the ground, they don't really do that. They do other things. They scan military base, they check government activity, and they're sending messages. And the government of Burkina Faso say enough, stop this. We're going to talk about this on our next edition because we have no more time. Let me know how you feel about this. Again, William Ruto want to spend $9 million to build the church where? At the presidential residence. Yeah, well, there are no mosques over there, and Kenyans are very, very unhappy about that. It's always a great pleasure, fellas. YouTube say a lot of you guys watch videos, but you're not subscribed. Why are you not subscribed? Please do so. It's done. Thank you. Bless. Family of former president of Zambia decided to have his burial in South Africa. This is crazy. For the very first time, a foreign president will be buried in South Africa. Why has this occurred? Because of a big feud between former president's family and the government. Imagine having trouble with somebody even after they're dead. Crazy stuff Africans can do. In Nigeria, ladies are being touched on their breast to check if they're wearing bra. This is unprecedented, fellas. Whilst other people are working towards development in Nigeria, they're checking students' breasts to see if they're wearing bras. Crazy stuff. Iran has rejected firmly US negotiation. These people are not scared at all. I think we need to find out about this. What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing good. It's a beautiful day. Thank you very much for stopping by. Here is Zambia on a map. Nice place. Good people. Very, very interesting to see. The family of Zambia's former president, Edgar Lungu, this man right here, said he will be buried in South Africa in a private ceremony following a row with the government over the funeral arrangement. You hear that? That's very painful. Being buried away from your ancestors, not because you wanted, but because you're forced to, and it's crazy. Now, what's the problem here? The government announced they wanted to do a celebration, for the former government's body, to do a celebration as per the state, as it's required, do something interesting, having a parade, having a funeral event organized before they bury him. However, the former president said after his death, the actual president should not attend the funeral. That's how bad their relationship was. He says, if I die, that man should never be in my funeral. This is something you mostly find it in Africa. They say, if I ever die, don't ever come to my funeral. That means the level of disdain we have for one another, it's on another planet's level. The government announced there will be a state funeral and declared that the official venue for mourning will be a lodge it's owned in the capital, Lusaka. But PF dismissed this plan, directing mourners to its headquarters instead. So government wants to do something their way, and PF is the political party of the former president. They say, we're not going to your lodge to cry our leader. We're going to take him to our own space to have a decent event organized for him. So officially in his will, former President Lungu said Ichilema, his long rival, they should not allow him to attend. So the man wrote it in his will. They're speaking. There is talking about something and writing it down. Write something down on your will. That man should never come. Like, what kind of animosity existed there? As much as I believe and understand politics, I think there should be limits. Politics should never cross the human side of you. There are certain things you cannot do, even to your worst enemy. The pair has been long-time rivals. It is reported that in 2017, Lungu, when he was president, had the current president arrested because apparently Ichilima's motorcade allegedly refused to give away to him. So the president apparently was driving in 2017, whilst the new president, the one in power now, his motorcade blocked the president from going past. Whether this is truth or not, we don't know. But he was put in jail for over 100 days for blocking the president from passing. Now, fellas, the Lungu's parties has accused Achilemas of being the reason why their leader has passed. So they say the current president blocked the former president from flying across the world to go get good medication, to go get good treatment. They said the reason why his health deteriorated is because they did it on purpose, blocking him from flying away to go get treated. As you would understand, I'm sure if you're from not African country. Well, many African countries, unfortunately, health system are not adequate. It's very sad, but that's a reality. Some of the leaders of the biggest houses, biggest villas you can imagine, biggest cars, 2, second, third, fifth wife, have buildings, but the hospital is bad. And a lot of African leaders still go to Europe to go get treated for some of the most basic things. Some people will tell you the reason why they do that is because they're afraid that the doctor would perhaps be corrupted to kill them. But some other people will clearly say to you it's because there is no infrastructure. Okay, so you have to go to another president, another country to get treated. And how do you think those people do not respect us? They don't respect us because even our leaders go to them to get treated instead of investing into the country and get things working. Now, the accusation is very clear. They say the reason why our man Lungu has passed is because you refused him to fly away. But as you can understand, Lungu supposedly threw the current president in jail for 100 days, and maybe he responded. If this is truth, maybe he responded, okay, because you did that to me, I'm going to make you pay. But then, is it worthwhile? It is alleged that Lungu was banned from leaving the country for years, and if he had been allowed to travel to seek medical treatment sooner, he would still be alive. Now, obviously, the government has vehemently denied the accusation, saying it's absolutely false. Yes, fellas, this is not the first time something like this happens. You know, in 2021, the family of Kenneth Kaunda, the country's first president, he was De Lumumba or De Sankara, also wanted him to rest next to his wife's body and not to a site designated by government. So family wants their father to be buried next to the mother. This was also the wish of the former president. Despite this, the government went ahead and buried Kaunda at Embassy Memorial Park in Lusaka. So what did the High Court say after they went to trial? The High Court say, well, the national interest takes precedence over individual or family preferences because there is a designated burial place for former president and there is a designated set of protocol to handle those proceedings that are conducted by the state. Now, can we fairly say that government is right? If you become the president of a country, then you cannot decide when you get buried. Is it written in the constitution? If it is written, then we don't know. If it's not written, then the family shouldn't they have a say to, we want our father to be buried next to our mother. And again, this has happened in Zimbabwe again. In 2019, Robert Mugabe died after 2 years of being unseated as Zimbabwean president by his former right-hand man, Edmondson Mnangagwa. Again, former right-hand man overtake you. Interesting. Look at Gabon. The same thing happened. Former right-hand man took out the president. So you must be very careful with former right-hand people. Mugabe's family refused to allow him to be buried at the National Heroes Archer, arguing that he had been betrayed by his former colleagues. So there's no use, there's no honor for him to be buried to a government side by people that betrayed him, were they right or wrong. But then after Bitterford, the man that led Zimbabwe for many years was laid in a village with his ancestors. So in Zambia, the president has cancelled the mourning. The mourning was going on because they've had issues with the family. They've cancelled. The president said, you know what? We need to move on with our life. We've been waiting for you. They are in South Africa because you're taking too long to, you know what? You can do whatever you want with them. We're not mourning anymore. So Zambia is back to normal. Now, do you think they've forgiven each other even after death? Let me know how you feel about that. Now we're going to Nigeria. In Nigeria, fellas, a video went viral on the internet showing a lady checking girls' boobs or breasts. Why? They were making sure they're wearing bras. A video went viral showing female students being touched to see whether they were wearing bras before taking part in the exam. How interesting is this? They're checking the breasts, making sure that they're not going to distract anybody. That's the goal, not distracting anybody wearing breasts. Yeah, so you gotta wear bras. The first question is, when people come to write exam, are they busy thinking about exam or looking at breasts? I'm just asking. Okay, while Burkina Faso is trying to make sure that their ladies wear natural hair, they don't have this fake hair from dead bodies. In Nigeria, they're checking if you're wearing bras. Are you wearing bras? It's crazy. Human Rights is very unhappy with that. They say they could sue the university for violating the right of the girls. Unwarranted touches on another person's body is a violation and could lead to legal action. The university is wrong to adopt this method of curb indecent dressing. Do you think this makes sense? Should they check these girls, make sure they don't distract the boys? If a boy will be distracted with breast during exam, maybe he shouldn't be going to that kind of school. He should be doing carpenting, bricklaying, mechanic or something like that. I know there are females that are mechanics, but at least he should move toward the direction where there's more male than females. Or do you think this makes sense to get people back on track? Or do you think it's invading somebody's privacy? In response, the university president, Muiz Olatunji, said the university promoted a dress code policy aimed at maintaining a respectful and distraction-free environment, encouraging students to dress modestly in in line with institutions. I mean, I can understand if this is the modus operandi of every single day, but on the exam, we're going to check, other people. I don't know. How do you feel about this? Let me know how you feel about that. Should kids be straightened because sometimes they go astray? Because I remember myself many years ago when we went to school, we will dress up, especially schools where you see boys and girls. Yeah. I think if you put boys together, I feel they tend to be less distracted. You'll notice something very interesting. The schools where there's only boys, they don't dress up very clean. They don't care. Sometimes they don't even wash their face going to school. You see schools where there's boys and girls. People make sure they look good because, I'm telling you, the world without women is nothing. You don't know that? Why do you think men want to get a Lamborghini or Ferrari? You think if there were only men on earth, men will fight hard looking for Ferraris and Lamborghinis? Absolutely not. You know what men will be doing? They'll be going to the forest, have a fruit. That's it. You go to you have something small. That's it. You don't care. That's what it is. Now we're going to Iran. Obviously, we need to tell you about what's happening in the world. Iran has rejected recent US negotiations, saying there will be no talks while Israeli attacks continue. This is a very strong statement coming from the Iranian Foreign Ministry, Abbas Araghchi. He said, yes, the American requested negotiation, and our answer was negative. As long as this aggression continues, there is absolutely no room for talk or diplomacy. How do you feel about that? That's what it is, fellas. In Zambia, a fight between the current president and the family of a former president about burial. He will be buried in South Africa, where he passed away. The South African government has been very kind to them. They say they have not questioned their decision. They will not bury him in Zambia because former president said that man should never come next to my dead body. Should we be taking our rivalry to that level? Let me know how you feel about that. God bless.